Tim, we have an extra special episode this week. It's going to be amazing. We have to do predictions for the first ever two-night wrestling event, the Alpaca Bowl from New England Wrestling Alliance.
Adam,
What?
Adam. No, I'm not predicting your stupid little side hobby. And also, for the last fucking time, it's not the first ever. Wrestle Kingdom did it in January. WrestleMania did it in April. You're not the fucking first.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a special episode. We've got it on Fridays this week of As the Buckle Turns. I'm Adam.
I'm Tim.
And as I said, we're putting the episode out early this week because Alpaca Bowl is going to be both on Saturday and Sunday, so scheduling this got bumped. What? You leave the Alpaca Bowl alone. It is the year end and the start of the next year for New England Wrestling Alliance. It's their greatest show ever.
Don't care. We're going to get into something that's more important, and that was the first night of Fyter Fest was last night. And I actually watched the entire show, and it was good.
Are you saying that Fyter Fest is a two-night event?
Yes, but it's not back-to-back. It's over 2 weeks.
Okay, good. That protects New England Wrestling Alliance's first ever back-to-back two-night wrestling event.
We covered this. WrestleMania, Wrestle Kingdom, did it already.
No idea what you're talking about.
But anyway, we have some matchups, and that's right, ladies and gentlemen, the Predictions Championship is on the line, but not for one night.
No.
It's for both nights of Fyter Fest.
Yes.
So, we'll go over the results. This podcast may be short compared to others because not much has happened. But I'll go over the card really quickly. Then we'll move on to the results. So then we had the MJF and Wardlow versus Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus in the opening matchup. We had Private Party with Matt Hardy versus Santana and Ortiz. Hikaru Shida defended against Penelope Ford. Cody defends against Jack Hager. And Hangman Adam Page and Kenny Omega defends against Best Friends. So, stat card. Again, great card and matchup.
Yes.
So we'll start with the first matchup, which was, like I always said, MJF and Wardlow versus Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. And we both got this one right with Jurassic Express winning.
Of course.
And heavily protecting MJF and, in a sense, protecting Wardlow.
Yeah.
But
I mean, because
it was definitely a good matchup here.
Yeah. They lost due to a miscommunication.
No, they didn't.
Well, / Jungle Boy dodging.
Dodging, well, because Wardlow was holding Jungle Boy and MJF was going to use the ring.
Right.
He goes there, he dunks, but he doesn't hit Wardlow.
No.
But then Jungle Boy kicks MJF into him, and then he punches Wardlow. And MJF gets sent out of the ring. Wardlow comes in, and they basically just double team him. Luchasaurus gets the win, the pinfall over it, recuperating it. I had a feeling this was what they were going to do in the start after Wardlow won last week.
Yeah.
Get that win back, but in a tag match where it still kind of protects both Wardlow and MJF in singles competition, but in tag team, which is also hyped up by they said that this is the first time MJF and Wardlow were teaming together.
Right. Also, MJF today tweeted out that he is still undefeated because he's never been pinned or submitted.
Yep, his only loss in actually the entire company came in a fatal four-way, where he didn't get pinned.
Exactly, and this is the second one.
Now, I will say this: I normally hate when people say they're still undefeated in tag team action or one-on-one, or they've lost a match, but they haven't lost by pinfall or submission.
Right.
And that's mostly in WWE because that's what they use to keep someone strong. They'll do it to, they've lost a match, but they haven't been pinned or submitted yet. Because
But they lose a bunch of matches that way.
Yeah, but the thing is, we all know wins and losses don't matter over there. So when they try to hype up that this person still hasn't been beaten, officially been taking the law of pinfall or submission, it falls flat.
Yeah.
Where in AEW, when we know wins and losses actually mean something, getting the pin, being pinned, does actually mean something. So it will be interesting to see this. I'm wondering if they're going to set up MJF and Moxley at All Out, because he's the number one contender in the men's division right now.
Ooh, that would
hope
be
not.
That would be awesome, actually.
I hope not. No, I hope not. I want to see MJF hold the TNT Championship first.
What I want to see is that it's Jungle Boy who takes the opportunity away from MJF. Like MJF is definitely declared the number one contender after the match with between Moxley and Brian Cage. It is officially announced that MJF is the next opponent for Moxley, and you're like, okay. He brags about it. He's going through the backstage, and like he's still bragging about it, like, you know, telling people to kiss he walks up to Jungle Boy and he's like, kiss the number one contender's ring. And Jungle Boy goes, put it on the line. I'll face you tonight, tomorrow night, next week. I don't care. I'll face you for it. You want to brag about it? Brag about it in the ring. Put it up. Put up or shut up. And MJF just basically gets goaded into putting up the number one contender spot. He puts it up. Jungle Boy actually gets the win, surprisingly. Even though their last match was absolutely phenomenal and great. Jungle Boy pulls out the win. Mox, of course, destroys him. But Jungle Boy says before the match with Moxley, because the Moxley's like trying to like egg him on, get him out of his comfort zone, you know, do whatever, you know, Mox can do. And Jungle Boy goes, I've already won what I wanted. I've already hit my goal. This is a bonus for me. I lose, whatever. I work my way back up again. No big deal. I beat you, even better. But my goal was to beat MJF and take this away from him. That's all it was.
It'd be a cool little spot. It's something like I'm doing with my fantasy booking for AEW.
Ooh, I like that.
But instead, I'm doing it in a best of 5 series.
Ah, okay.
Between them. We haven't gotten there in the story yet, but we'll be building towards that. I'm hoping to keep that going until All Out, but we'll see.
Yeah, who knows?
So our next matchup was Hikaru Shida successfully defending against Penelope Ford in what many are saying is the best match of the night. And I agree, which says something about some matches that are coming up. First off, Penelope Ford's boyfriend, Kip Sabian, was kicked out of the ringside from the beginning. The bell hasn't even rung yet, and he got kicked out.
Immediately awesome. Kicked out of the scene.
Yeah, and then he also took Shida's kendo stick with him.
But she's the face in this situation. She doesn't need it.
Yeah. So it was a good back and forth there. They played off of last week where Shida defeated her opponent like that. Flying knee, Falcon Arrow, pin. So she comes off with the flying knee, goes for the Falcon Arrow, but Penelope counters. But it was a nice back and forth. Penelope Ford really looked good in this matchup. Which is, and you know she's still green, but had a good showing here. It had shows that she is really can make anyone look like a star in that ring.
I am noticing a lot on Twitter right now of a lot of people just being like, I don't know much about Penelope Ford's earlier work, but this is amazing. Why are we not seeing more of her in the ring?
Yeah. So it's definitely one of those things where it's definitely looked out good. It will be interesting to see how they position her going forward, but it was a good showing for her. There was no way she was going to win the belt. But there were a few close calls. I'm like, they're not going to do it. No, they're not. Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't think so. They got me, like, almost hooked in for a potential title change at one point, which just shows you how good this match is. But it was Shige's first defense, I believe. So there was no way she was going to drop the belt. But it was still a great matchup. And it was the second matchup on the card. And it's the best match of the night, which just says that some of these matches were a little let down.
From what I have been reading, they weren't necessarily a letdown. This just had that much extra.
Yes. The other thing was, it just didn't have anything extra. It was just like, there was something about the beginning part of the card that worked really, really well. And then the other part, it just kind of,
It also, actually, one of the things that I did hear that does bring its total number down, or its rating down, or however you want to say it, was the amount of false finishes.
No.
But
no. We talked about this off mic. Completely disagree with Wrestle Talk.
I don't.
I mean, not Wrestle Talk.
What culture? Cultaholic.
Yeah, I completely disagree. Well, there were a few false finishes in this matchup. If you go and compare it to an NXT takeover and how many false finishes are in like the main event for those matches, yeah, no, this was nowhere close to that. I think it was fine on here. And this matchup was actually one of the longer matches. It was the third longest match of the night. It was 11 minutes and 28 seconds.
Yeah.
It felt longer watching it. And not in a bad way. It felt like so much was happening and entertaining. It just felt like time was like, it was good. Unlike when you have a matchup where it's like 5 minutes and it seems like a half hour has gone by and you're just like, oh.
I do laugh at those matches because you stop and you're like, so why does it, the match bell to bell was, 10 minutes long, but why did it feel so much longer? And then you realize, because there was the pre-hype package, the entrances that took forever, and then you had a stare down in the ring, which may have taken up an extra like 4 minutes, where they cut a promo on each other. Then the bell rang, and you're like, oh, no wonder this entire thing felt like forever, because it was a 30-minute segment with 10 minutes of wrestling.
Well, no, I'm talking about just the matches that were like 5 minutes long total, like maybe 2 minutes at the beginning before the match starts, but the match itself feels like it's like 15 minutes because it's just so slow and like painful. Not like the action is bad, but it's just like, it's just like, wow, this is like dull, and like you just feel like you're being sucked into oblivion.
Yeah.
Like some WWE matches.
What? No, never.
But yeah, so that was the according to people, the match of the night. The best finish, that I will say this, that protected someone the best, was the TNT Championship matchup with Jake Hager versus Cody, which Cody retained again, making his fourth defense of the championship.
Yeah, retained in odd fashion, though.
I mean, it was very clear they were trying to protect Jake Hager in defeat. Which, again, I'm sorry that they're just doing a bad... they've had a lot of big men, powerhouses, that they keep losing. They protect them, but it's getting old. We saw it with Brody Lee. We saw it with Lance Archer. We saw it with Jake Hager when he lost to Moxley, now lost to Cody. It's just... And we're probably going to see it, another one win Brian Cage against Moxley, potentially.
Maybe.
Potentially. I'm saying, again, potentially.
Well, I mean, also, the way to look at it is, I mean, with Brody Lee, it was two men that pushed each other to the absolute limit, and Moxley just pulling that win out.
Yeah.
That was the story that they were telling.
It was all came down to the fact that they had no choice but to put Brody Lee in that main event spot, because what they were doing with the Elite and the Inner Circle, with the Stampede match, it was too soon. But again, then you had Lance Archer, who was being built up for a powerhouse, and they decided to have him lose as well.
Okay,
and Jake Hager lost his first matchup to Moxley for the world title on Dynamite. He's now lost here again. It was the most creative finish, I think.
Oh, I love it.
But it was still here. So what happened was, at the end of the matchup, Cody was doing very well. By the way, this just goes to show you that WWE had no clue what to do with Jack Swagger in WWE. Because not all of his matches are always the most entertaining.
No.
But you can see that he knows what he's doing in the ring. Where in WWE, there were times where it's like, no, he came off as really green at times. And this was even after. This was years after. I'm talking about when he turned babyface and he had some of his better work before he left. But there were still times where they clearly didn't know what to do with him, and they gave up on him. But the finish came with Cody was up against the ropes. Hager's wife slaps him. And then Dustin came out and actually slaps Hager in a similar mode. And then Cody goes for I think he went for the crossroads, but got countered, put into his the Hager's, he slams him down and he locked in the
it's a triangle hold.
Yeah, triangle chokehold with the arms.
Yep.
But Cody flipped himself over on top of Hager to get the pin on Hager.
Yes.
And Hager even thought he won because Cody was, and they even said Cody was out. Like, he was out on top of him, but because he was on top, the ref didn't check to see if he was out. He counted the pinfall.
He saw the pin.
It was a very unique way to counter that into a finish, a pin. So it did protect Hager. He got some heat back by decking the ref. But again, it's just, I'm sorry. You have these big men that you're saying that are dominant, but then they have a big matchup like this, they fall short. Now, with the Inner Circle, I have an idea what they're doing with the Inner Circle element, at least.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that after the next match. But overall, it was a good matchup. This went 14 minutes and 59 seconds. So just barely just a second off of 15 minutes, which was good. It probably could have been cut a little bit shorter. I think the women should have had a little bit longer. And if you cut off a minute off of the Jurassic Express and Private Party matchup, you could have given it to the women to have a little bit longer. But the next matchup was Private Party defeating the Inner Circle of Santana and Ortiz. By the way, I think they've gone away from Proud and Powerful because they refer to them as Santana and Ortiz.
Yeah.
When they came out. Thank God. Because that was a stupid tag team.
It wasn't a good
I'm
name.
Sorry. No, it was not.
Like, as a catchphrase, Santana and Ortiz, the Pride and Powerful, the Proud and Powerful,
Yeah.
that works. But
that would be fine, but calling the team Pride and Powerful, I think so. They were looking for a name for their team because they were LAX. They couldn't use that.
Right.
So they were looking for something, and they decided went with Proud and Powerful. It didn't go overall. I'm glad they were smart enough to say, okay, we're not going to use that anymore. But it was a surprise. We both had Private Party losing this matchup.
Yeah, we did. Oops.
And it did have some saying that there was no shenanigans afterwards to try to get some heat back off them, on them afterwards. And this match was stolen a little bit because Jericho was constantly bath-mouthing Orange Cassidy, who came out and sat next to commentary the entire this matchup.
He came out for commentary. They just did not mic him up this time. I'm glad that they didn't mic him up. The things that he would have said would have gotten them kicked right off the air. Jericho was right. Bringing Cassidy is a detriment to the entire company. I can't believe it. I'm surprised that more people are not calling for this. Fire OC.
You love OC. So
I love him. He's the strongest man on the planet. He only uses 1/10 of his power.
No, he isn't even going to use 1/10 of his power. He uses a fraction, like 1.5 a fraction of his true power.
Who? Oh.
So, and that's already devastating.
So
that sends people to
the
the hospital.
10% is him just going, look, I'm using 10% of maybe caring about what I'm about to do.
Yeah. So it was funny also at the end of this matchup. We had Jericho flipping out, like throwing water at Orange Cassidy, trying to like get at him, and he's just walking away, and people run out to separate him, and they attack Jericho, like holding him back. They have one guy who's like constantly holding Orange back, who's not trying to move there, and he eventually hooked Orange by the loop on the jacket, and he's not trying to get to him. It's just so it's like whatever.
Okay.
But for this matchup, this was a good matchup between the Private Party and Santino and Ortiz. The only downside was, again, the finish. It should have been Santino and Ortiz, which does go to my thing where I think that they're going with the Inner Circle, but it was a better matchup than their matchup with the Best Friends.
Okay.
I didn't really see any really miscommunications between these teams. It was really good overall. But with this win, Private Party will get the title shot next week.
Yes.
Against the champions, the champions that we'll get to in a second. But Santino and Ortiz should have won here personally. But it goes to my thing with I think they're doing with Inner Circle. The storyline that they're going with Inner Circle is they can get wins in matches, but important matches they can't, and that's going to come down to overall Jericho more focused on him.
Oh yeah,
and then not working as a team, like an actual team, as in like helping each other get wins by distractions. When they were doing it for Jericho to retain the title, that was in Jericho's favor.
Or
no
the next time Jericho goes after the title.
Yeah. So it was just that's the kind of feeling that they're going to be telling you is that they can't get there, and that will be part of the story when they do break up the Inner Circle is Jericho will be so focused on his getting more wins to get the title back. He won't want to be involved in their matches. He won't want to help them out, but he'll expect them to help him.
Right.
It'll be interesting to see if that's where they go with it, but time will tell. Which then leads us into the main event of the night, which had Hangman Page and Kenny Omega successfully defending the tag titles against the Best Friends, which I disagree with. It should have been the Best Friends. And this is what gave Adam the win by one victory.
I am one up on you, and for next week we only have one match again that we disagree on.
Actually, because we have to do a prediction for next week, which we'll do in a second. And that's because the matchup we disagree on is no longer taking place next week.
Oh yes,
Moxley
that's
and
true.
Brian Cage is now at Fight for the Fallen. So, actually, we disagree on Jericho and Orange Cassidy. So,
yeah, Orange Cassidy's going to totally win.
I hope Orange Cassidy wins.
It's going to be the shin kicks that actually put it over the top. One of them is going to connect later on, and Jericho's just going to drop and like stop and just be like, how the hell?
No. What I want to see is Orange Cassidy do the shin kicks, like the little kicks he does.
Yeah.
And Jericho no-sells them, but later in the match, he just drops in pain to his legs out of nowhere.
First it's one, and then it's the other, and he's just like, why?
He's like, what am I like? And he's clearly he didn't do it. He didn't land wrong on a move or anything. His legs just start hurting, and he can't stand up. He's like, what happened? No, and Orange Cassidy's just like, so it'll be interesting there. But we got to pick the who will win between the Kenny Omega and Page and the Private Party for the tag titles.
Yes,
because they did retain. It was a good matchup. It was not the best matchup I've seen of Hangman Page and Kenny defending the titles. There's a lot of people going into hype this was going to be a bigger matchup because of a better match. But I personally think they should have dropped the belts because it the best friends with the best ones, and I have a bad feeling that next week we're gonna see them drop the belts to Private Party. I hope not, because, but yeah, who knows? But
I gotta
we
say,
did get a little dirty. We
Yeah.
got a little finish at the end of this matchup, because after they won, which Paige won without Kenny's help, we had FTR who came out during the match and watched by the commentary with beer. They came out. They offered Paige and Kenny a beer. They toasted each other. They all drank. Kenny looked like he was about to drink, but then he dumped it out.
Yeah.
That pissed off Dax. Brings out the Young Bucks to kind of separate them. Paige got pissed off at Omega for dumping out a beer.
What?
Not his beer.
Well, okay,
But
no.
dumping out
I
a
mean,
beer.
his argument could have been, "Hey, Kenny, you could have just handed me that beer."
Yeah,
I
think
would have
that's what they're
taken
gonna
both
do.
of them.
So it will be interesting to see if this will play into next week and if they drop the belts. I hope not. What if they're gonna drop the belts? The next team in line, I say they should drop the belts to. It should be the Dark Order, because they were technically the number one contenders, but because they were trapped in Canada with COVID, they couldn't get down there.
Okay.
To do tapings. So I'd say build them back up, Stu and Evil Uno, and put the belts on. Have them drop the belt, take the belts. But I think they'll put them on like FTR, the Young Bucks, like FTR probably. Which is no, we need all out. We need Young Bucks, FTR, no titles on the line.
No, that's up at first. It's Full Gear that FTR takes the belts.
Potentially, I would be okay with if they want to hold out the titles on Kenny and Paige for a little bit longer and have them drop it all out. You have them drop to the Lucha Brothers.
Yes. Lucha Bros drop it to FTR at Full Gear. And then,
No.
what was the February pay-per-view again?
Revolution. No.
Revolution, it's Young Bucks and FTR. This time, the belt is on the line.
No. FTR takes the belts off the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks beat the Lucha Brothers at Full Gear.
Okay.
No.
All right.
No. They take them at Revolution.
Yes.
We'll let the Lucha Brothers have actually a good run with them. Then they drop them to the Young Bucks at Revolution. Young Bucks drop them at Double or Nothing next year to FTR. 6 months from their last fight, where the FTR still won, and then you're like, okay, people think the Young Bucks will retain here, but no, FTR gets another victory over them. You can put that every time these teams face one-on-one, team 2-on-2, the Young Bucks just come up short for some reason. Maybe in the first match they take a cheap shot. They win by cheap tactics by the
Maybe.
FTR. But then they actually beat them clean here or something like that. But the Young Bucks should be the ones dropping the belts to the FTR.
Yeah.
Not the other way around, in my personal opinion. But all right, so Adam, before we move on,
Yes.
let's do the final prediction.
Okay.
We still have to predict Nyla Rose's, but they haven't announced her opponent yet. So,
Still don't have an opponent for her.
and she says she has a surprise for next week, so that'll be interesting to see.
Ooh.
The return of Awesome Kong as her manager.
Okay. Omega and Paige are retaining. They're gonna win.
Yeah, I have a feeling that they're gonna retain too. I mean, I like Private Party, but they're not ready to be tag champions.
No, not yet. No.
That's why I think they could possibly drop. I think they could probably drop them because it'll be a surprise. It'd be a short reign though. They wouldn't have a long title reign.
If Private Party did win here, it would be that's a Vince Russo level swerve.
It'd be because like Paige, like Kenny accidentally makes a mistake and Paige gets pissed off.
Yeah, but
and leaves.
You don't see that level of animosity between the two of them yet. That would have to be present through storyline first, where and much like when they were going to face the Young Bucks, where you were like, maybe Paige will feel like he's so left out. Right now, I don't really see him feeling. He feels left out of the friendship between the Young Bucks and Kenny.
Yeah,
because really Paige's animosity is between him and the Bucks. he and Kenny are pretty good when it's just the two of them.
I think they're gonna this is gonna turn out. It's been boiling down inside Paige. He's kind of kept it down because lately the Young Bucks and Paige they've been kind of doing their own things.
Yeah.
So it hasn't been that bad, but now they're kind of getting back involved with each other. I think this is gonna boil up, and you could use that. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. But yeah, I think they'll keep the belts on them at this point because Private Party's not ready for a title run. Unless it's going to be a very short title run.
Yeah.
But I don't think so. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, let us know down in the comment section what you thought of Night 1 of Fyter Fest. And just tell us what you thought. Do you agree with the titles remaining on Paige and Omega? Or do you think Best Friends should have won the belts? Let us know down in the comment section. Let us know what you think of will they drop the belts to Private Party next week?
No.
Well,
not happening.
So, well, with that being said, Adam, we have to go to ratings now.
Yes, we do.
Because we're in a ratings war.
We are in a ratings war, ladies and gentlemen. For the second week in a row, NXT has beaten AEW in the ratings on the Wednesday Night Wars. Now, at the same time, though, if you want to look at the overall number of people watching wrestling on Wednesday night, it's 1.5 million. Raw and SmackDown are not doing those numbers, and those are shows that have been around for for over 20 years. So those are institutions at this point. They have a very built-in audience that no matter what will continue to turn up.
We're in the Pritchard and McMahon era right now with running everything in WWE, and the ratings were up for 2 weeks, but now they're dropping fast again because they don't know what fans want.
Yeah,
I am now drooling for some reason.
Stop drooling on yourself, sir.
This cheese and pepperoni cracker that's right in front of me is just
okay.
Ooh, it looks so good.
Just eat your cracker. Just eat your cracker. But yes, NXT. Well, I'm gonna have to mute that. NXT this week was 792,000 to AEW's 748,000. AEW has kind of been on a constant ride lately, while AEW keeps having these spikes. And honestly, I don't like seeing random spikes. Yes, last week they outdid AEW. In fact, actually, I still have. Do I have those numbers from last week? No. Wait, maybe. Yes, wow, yeah. AEW gained a bunch of people this week. They were in at 633,000 last week, and NXT only bumped up maybe 10,000. Just about 10 grand.
Yep. So it will be interesting to see overall. They did have Sasha Banks taking on Io Shirai in the main event last night for NXT, which saw a surprise member of the Raw roster show up of Asuka returning to NXT in the main event.
So wait,
to help.
That just means that WWE is dumping its main event, its main roster talent down to NXT to get the ratings up. And you know what? Never mind.
Well, see, I'm okay with this one because it actually worked for a change. Because they put Charlotte down there for months as the NXT Women's Champion, and it didn't help the ratings.
It didn't do anything.
Sasha and Bayley come in. They were I think they appeared last week, but it helped the numbers a little bit. But then we put Sasha Banks versus Io Shirai in the main event of a matchup that was made over Twitter.
Wow.
By the way, and for a non-title matchup, and it still Sasha Banks and Bayley are draws because they were more over in NXT.
Oh yeah.
There were fans there. And it just goes to show that Charlotte, she was over in NXT, but she was never to the level that Sasha and Bayley became.
No. The audience in NXT was, I can't say cool, but they were cooler on Charlotte than they were Sasha and Bayley.
Say that again?
They were cooler. They were, instead of just being lukewarm, if you will, towards Charlotte, she was over, but she wasn't Bayley. She wasn't Sasha. Becky wasn't really up there either.
When you say
but
cooler, when you say cooler, it sounds like you're saying she's cooler, like as not in like hotness level.
Charlotte is way cooler than Sasha and Bayley. Oh yeah.
That's what it comes off on. I'm like, wait, I know he's not what he's saying, but it's I gotta get clarification, which is very true. And it just goes to show that when Charlotte was champion, she had some good matchups with people, but she didn't have high quality matches.
No,
like Sasha had when she was NXT Women's Champion, which Bayley, and then the combination between her and Bayley. Bayley didn't have that many high quality matchups because the women's division was gutted because all three of the four horsewomen went up, and she was working with green and new up and coming talent like Nia Jax.
Yep.
And so it was like, so she didn't get a chance to have that, which kind of sucked because it really hurt her reign down there. And then you get her matchup with Asuka, which was great. And then her rematch when she had with Asuka, when she took both losses, were better matches and showed when you put Bayley in against high quality opponents, she delivers every single time. Mm-hmm. It's just because they had to rebuild because they didn't have that many women major stars at the time, it hurt them. But it's good to see that wrestling was up again for Wednesday night. It will be interesting to see what the ratings are next week.
Yes.
Especially with potential, with a spoiler of next week's NXT, which we'll get to the end of the show. So anyone who wants to avoid the spoilers for the double championship, it'll be at the very end of the show. Because a spoiler has leaked online potentially, but we'll get there. But Adam, we mentioned we were in a ratings war.
Yes.
And we gotta talk about why that is.
Well, because MJF said it. That's why we're in a ratings war.
Yep, he said it was a ratings war. But we also gotta admit that someone else came out and did fired a shot against WWE.
Oh, come on. Taz was shooting from the hip pretty hard on that promo.
Yeah, he was.
I gotta say, I did catch the image on Twitter. It's definitely now been memed at this point. But comparing Brian Cage and Taz to the Wish version of Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman is just great. It's funny. Come on. Like, as much as people make, that's disrespectful. No, come on. It's funny. It's clearly, there's a certain trope in wrestling of the big guy has a manager who does all the talking for him. Mm-hmm. The guy, the big guy can do the talking, but does he need to? His job is to wrestle. He's got a manager to do all his talking for him. And Heyman has always been great about doing that. Taz is great on the mic. He's great behind the desk and doing commentary. Yeah, his work on Dark has been good too.
Yep, and Cage can talk. If you watch the stuff in Impact, he can talk.
Oh yeah,
it works good here because when he doesn't talk, so when he does talk, it leaves something for him to say.
Right.
And builds up to it. So when they do eventually split off from each other at some point, you have, it will mean something. But Taz can talk all the trash he wants for him.
Right.
For that, which is good. But the shots fired was talking about the COVID testing in WWE versus AEW.
Yeah.
At the same time, insulting Jon Moxley for taking 2 tests and coming up negative. If he came in this week, he would have gotten tested again, so it would have been 3 times to prove he wasn't all to build the feud and why it was pushed off for 2 weeks instead of having it next week. It was all great stuff. But some of his words pissed off some people in WWE.
Yes,
I believe he has triggered some executives in WWE.
I like the
According to
wording
Wrestling Observer
triggered.
Radio. What was that?
I like the wording triggered. It's perfect.
Yeah, I had to
Chris.
work that in there because it sounds like it. According to Wrestling Observer Radio, there are people in WWE who are very upset with sloppy shop line from Taz.
You know what? AEW has been doing the testing from like day one when they started bringing people back after they did their massive bulk their bulk taping, and then when they came back and they started working at the Daily's place, they've been testing every week. Everyone gets tested. You're in the back, you get tested.
I don't know if they were testing during the bulk tapings.
I don't think so.
Testing wasn't fully available at the time. But once they came back to live,
yeah, they've been testing.
Once they could do live stuff and take advantage of the necessity, according to the state of Florida,
Right.
they have tested, like the UFC have tested when they had their fights in Jacksonville.
Yep.
They were testing. So, and then we find out that WWE was only taking temperatures, having a survey on how they felt.
A survey. Come on, guys.
And then we have found out that at least 24 people have been tested positive with coronavirus last week.
Yeah.
So, but now we gotta do a little bashing of AEW though. Well, it is praiseworthy that they test everyone who comes through the door, and have asked people not to come through. Like QT Marshall's people were asked not to come through last week when he inadvertently came through second contact, someone who eventually did test positive, and everyone who was like from his gym didn't come either.
Right.
Last week, which was great. Good Moxley in Nevada with his with Renee Young.
Yep.
When she tested positive. So great and all that. But last night there were some fans in attendance, according to Ryan Satin. There were investors who've done business with dailies and the cons in the past, were allowed to come in and watch the show. They were not tested during this. They were required to wear a mask.
Yes.
And they were up in the echelons where they couldn't breathe or spit on people up at ringside or in the back. So they were very secluded in there. But anyone who was at ringside was tested, had to be tested to be there. But let's be honest. If this was WWE and they did this exact same thing, we all would be bashing them for not testing these people.
Well, yes.
Let's be honest, Adam. If
at
WWE
the same time,
said we're bringing people and not testing them, and they were testing other people, would we not be bashing them for it?
Okay, at
Yes
the
or no?
second, at the same time that we would be bashing them if this was WWE, it's because they would fill the entire audience and wouldn't
I know.
test anyone.
Well, I'm saying no. I'm saying even if they did the exact same setup, they had them away from everyone else, people in the wrestling community would be bashing them for this decision. We would be bashing them for this decision. So it's fair to say to allow people in the audience, even though they were away from everyone else, that you did not test.
Yeah.
You may have done a temperature, taking their temperature, and signed waivers, but we still would be bashing them then. And I'm with the spikes here in Florida, because I actually just saw on Twitter today, 10,000 new cases in a day here in Florida.
Damn.
So it's a little irresponsible to not test anyone who's going to be in your audience, regardless of where they are.
All right.
And if you're going to be keeping them completely away from everyone else at all times, I'm sorry. I think it's just especially in your state where it's spiking heavily, it's not okay.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough.
I mean, if this was like in New Hampshire where the cases are like
Yeah, they're like nothing.
I think they're up everywhere, but they're nowhere up as anywhere else. Like there are a few Like, they're up very small numbers compared to
Let
everywhere
me
else.
just check New Hampshire's numbers. I mean, I can do it.
Only there was a magical device that could look this stuff up.
That's what I'm doing right now.
I know. So it will be interesting to say, but I mean, we had to put some criticism. I mean, they did take precautions to keep them away from everyone else, but what if one of those people who did come in had coronavirus? They could have passed it to the people who they were around up there.
You know what? New
which is-
Hampshire's doing good right now. No new cases in the last 24 hours.
Oh, that's good.
No new deaths in the last 24 hours. We're looking good
That's
over
good.
here.
That's good because I might have to be coming back to New Hampshire soon. So, but yeah, overall, I am a little disappointed that they let them in, but they went about it. I think it would just been easier, depending on how many people they should. You had the test there. Yes, I know it's more money, but if you're bringing them in, and they're people you've done business with,
Yeah.
why not just test them? It's right there. I mean, if you're bringing in out just fans from the outside, I could understand that. But then I'd be more furious that you're bringing fans in, not some kind of connections directly.
Yeah.
At this point, but you had the test. You could have just tested them. Yes, it's more money, but you're bringing them in. Why not test them? And then they could have been down at ringside with everyone else, and they would have fleshed out that ringside area a lot more.
All right, that would have been really cool.
So, but overall, yes, it was nice to add it to the atmosphere in ways, but at the same time, let's be honest, we would have been far more critical of WWE if they had done this.
No, I don't know. No, I would never have bashed on WWE for doing the same thing that AEW did in a completely different manner. No, I would never have defended AEW perfectly. You know what? Fuck it. Yeah, I'm an AEW fanboy. Suck my nuts, okay? All right. I also love DX. I also love N.W.A. I also love the Bullet Club. You know, I love wrestling, and WWE right now has been making some bad decisions, okay?
Yeah.
When
All
they
right,
get their shit
so let's
together,
move
I'll
on.
love them again.
So let's move on to some New Japan news
Yes. All right.
before we get to the spoilers of the potentially night 2 of Great American Bash. So we're in the semifinals for the New Japan Cup are set.
Yes, they are. We've
Adam, I'm gonna have you do the results of the quarterfinals. Do you have the results?
hold on. One of my computers is not being. It's not helping me right now. Oh, you know what? Screw it. Nope. We're doing
I'm just
this.
sending you a link to the results. of
Thank
the
you.
Quarterfinals.
I'm working on my old computer right now. All
Yeah,
right.
I know. That's why it's taking for so long.
So we went through the 8 men who were in the quarterfinal, where, well, just run down the 4 matches that happened. We had Takahashi defeating Tomohiro Ishii in their quarterfinal match. Kazuchika Okada defeats Taiji Ishimori. Sanada defeated Taichi. And Evil defeated Yoshihashi in their match. This leads to the semifinal matches, which is going to be what? The 11th will be the final.
Okay, so the first matchup with Okada on there, you have to say what you said the last time when you saw who who was facing him.
I looked at the article that I had before, and I saw, Hiromu Takahashi, and I was like, all right, good to see. And then I saw his opponent, Kazuchika Okada, and I went, oh, I'm sorry, Takahashi.
Yep.
Sorry. And then I saw the next match, and I'm like, tag team
hold on.
partners. What is going on here?
Hold on.
What?
Before we say that, I just have to say this. I just recently rewatched Okada and Omega match one between them.
Yeah.
Last night, and just a reminder of like how good that matchup was.
It was,
how,
it was
like,
good.
How good Okada is in that. Because I know a lot of people remember when everyone was saying Okada made that, Omega made that match, not Okada. But then you go and watch a lot of Okada's other stuff, and like after that, and you're like, oh no, he contributed it, and you really see it. He contributed in their final matchup where Omega finally won. How much is it's both their minds working together that made this whole thing so special.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, the other semifinal matchup.
It's tag team partners Sonata versus Evil. So, like, as much as I'm saying Takahashi is going to lose to Okada, Sonata and Evil, I'm just like, no one is going to win in this match. That is two dudes who are just going to hoss beat each other for 20 minutes straight. Mm-hmm. The ref at the end of it's just going to have to be like, you know what? I'm raising one of your hands, and the other one's going to hate me. So you win.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see because they've been really pushing Evil and Sonata last year.
Yeah.
And single competition. Yes, they were doing tag team as well and everything. But that's one thing I liked about New Japan. In their tag division, you can easily flow back into singles competition and back into tag division as a tag team, and it's fine because it's so fluid like that. Where in the States, though, if you're a tag team for the most part, you have to be a tag team.
Yes.
WWE, yes, has had tag teams win single titles or non-title tag teams win the tag titles for story reasons or because they didn't have anything else for them. But immediately after they lose the belts or something like that, they break up the tag team soon after. In New Japan, you don't do that.
No.
And I think that's what we need to be bringing back over here, especially in AEW, when you could use your tag division when they're not fully being put, like you're not going in their direction. You could say, okay, we're going to put them in the do some stuff for the singles.
Yeah.
And they can come back into the tag division, be it very fluid, and it'll work out really good because you're going to use your tag teams in your mid card without having to constantly building up, having a big mid card at all times.
Plus,
you have only people who are singles.
Plus, this was a tournament, and that's typically you just as tag team partners. If you face each other in a tournament, you go, "No, this is a tournament. These things happen. We're both at this level. Let's shake hands and have a great kick-ass match." Or in the case of these two hosses, hey, so I'm gonna beat the crap out of you. I hope you beat the crap out of me too. And they're like, yes. I have also noticed that wrestling in Japan is an anime.
Yeah.
The good guys win
really
in the
is.
end, but it always, like, the bad guys always get the win when, they need to. And even if two bad guys have to face each other or two good guys face each other, you just go, bring everything you have. Just do it. I'm not going to, I don't want less than 100.
Well, if you watch all the Okada and Omega matches, the only one I haven't seen is their G1 match.
The shortest match.
I'm actually going to watch all the matches in order to see it. And, but like if you go and watch those first two and the final one that I've seen, that literally is a big boss anime battle of wrestling. When you look at it, it really is. It's Goku facing off against Jiren for like the tournament of power, where it took multiple people to eliminate Jiren, but it's always like that feel like it is these two guys who've been built up that you're kind of going and going at it, and it's kind of fun, which makes New Japan wrestling unique. They found a way to make interesting, unique characters in a way that America is kind of forgotten.
Yeah, I don't... And it's so weird, too, because, like, everyone's a character, but you don't... There's something about that U.S. wrestling, you see examples of it happening. AEW is kind of tapping into it, where no one's a good guy, no one's a bad guy. We're not forcing you to choose if this guy's a good guy or a bad guy. through their actions as a character, you will judge them that way. You will boo Chris Jericho because Jericho is just an ass. And it's just like, okay, all right. Well, at the same time, you want to cheer Luchasaurus, but there are times where, Jurassic Express technically is cheating. Marco's stunt, okay? Him getting involved in the match was technically cheating.
Yep.
But you like them because overall they're nice guys. The Young Bucks, this was an example that I really enjoyed. The Young Bucks with Bullet Club were technically heels.
Yep.
At the same time, everyone loved them because they actually did nice things outside the ring for people. They're like, we're bad guys, but we're not bad guys.
Well, no, it wasn't just that, but they brought it back the cool heel element from the late 90s. People liked the NWO because they were cool heels. They were bad guys. They attacked people. They beat people up.
Yeah, but they were
and
cool.
People liked that because they were cool. It was different and all that. They brought that back in the Bullet Club, in the Elite. So it was just one of those things where it's like, I look at it this way. If you go back to the 80s and you look at people, they all had gimmicks. They all had a character.
Oh, yeah.
Some, I couldn't tell you the thought process behind those characters, aka the Ultimate Warrior. What the fuck was that?
What was that? He was the Ultimate Warrior. He came from lands of distance.
Well, you knew why. The reason why they call him the Ultimate Warrior because he was called the Dingo Warrior, I believe, outside of WWE when he was brought in. Vince is like, oh, we have the Road Warriors. We have all these different warriors. We can't have another warrior. So he said, like, we'll make you the ultimate, like, above all the warriors, which was a good idea behind it.
Yeah, except for the fact that in ring he was nowhere close.
Yeah, but when you just like character-wise, when you look at him, it's like, how do you sum up the Ultimate Warrior's character other than nuts?
It's like describing Baja Blast, the flavor. How do you describe it? It's a flavor. The Ultimate Warrior, he was a wrestler. Macho Man Randy Savage, at his peak of clearly doing way too much cocaine before doing a promo, he had more together mentally than Ultimate Warrior did anytime he cut a promo.
Yeah, Ultimate Warrior, like you didn't know what the fuck he's saying. He actually, you know who reminds me of the promo style in a sense?
Who?
Bray Wyatt.
Yeah, except for the fact that Bray Wyatt has that. There's a menacing nature to the Bray Wyatt, the old Bray Wyatt.
Yeah. Well, no, that's what I'm talking about. When you look at the old Bray Wyatt, his promos were rambles in a sense.
Oh yeah.
But there was a coherence to him to a point, and you could dive into him and kind of get something a little bit more meaning behind it. Where the Ultimate Warrior would just say fucking shit.
He just said words. That's all it was.
But the way he said it,
it was like. Actually, no. I know who is a current wrestler today who technically has been carrying on this legacy of the Ultimate Warrior's promos, and that is Scott Steiner. His promos don't make sense. They go everywhere.
No, because the Ultimate Warrior, his didn't make sense because he start nowhere, he would go through all this other shit and end somewhere else that we still don't know where it is, but we know it's not in the same place. Scott Steiner,
it's on
you
Planet
can follow
Warrior.
it is all over the place, but it's nowhere like he's starting from the Venus flytrap on the planet of Mugra, like the Ultimate Warrior would say.
I never understood his promos. Never.
But because the way he said it, it was over. But he had character, and that's what the New Japan and like Japan style is.
Yeah.
They just figure out ways to have you different characters, and they can be very close to each other, but they're always different.
Oh yeah.
To the point where the fans can always tell the difference between them, and it's one of the best places to go and learn in-ring action first off, but also how to come up with a character.
Yes.
You'll see in certain areas, you'll see like how to come up with character. Like Moxley, he had John Moxley long before he was in WWE. I think he figured out in WWE how to better express a character.
Yeah.
I think he always knew what he wanted John Moxley to be, but he figured out how to better present that into a larger audience.
Well, I mean,
on television.
If you really look at it, the only difference between, John Moxley that we have today and John Moxley pre-WWE is that Moxley grew up. That's all it is. He just grew up. He didn't need to shout and scream and cut himself open to show how tough he was. He could just beat the crap out of you instead now.
Yeah. And also, I mean, I think that's part of the thing. It's like he always knew how to be a character, but he better figured out how to present it to a larger audience through WWE. That's what he got out of WWE.
Yes.
And certain areas you can see on the independent scene that people have figured out how to have character and grow that character, but it's kind of a lost art in America.
Yeah.
I think you're seeing some good character work from I've seen a little bit from N.W.A, which is always good, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
They're really kind of diving into those unique 80s type characters. I don't agree with all the characters, but at least they're trying to have their people that have an actual character, not a gimmick, a character, which is good.
Well, I mean, you're also seeing it through AEW. You've got the Best Friends, who it's not necessarily a gimmick. Like, they are two characters who are like, no, this is what we do. Orange Cassidy isn't that is more. He is more character work than gimmick.
Oh yeah,
it does come across as gimmick, but he's shaping it all the time.
Seen his stuff. Yeah, if you've never seen Orange Cassidy, it can come off as a gimmick, but no, I mean, character does exist here, and there's certain people who on the independent scene who do capture it, who are involved with people. Like Best Friends came from Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
Who's one of the best characters who is in Ring of Honor?
Bully Ray?
I'll give you a
Jay
hint.
Lethal.
Exactly.
Oh my God!
His
I would
Black
love to
Machismo
see
character.
Jay Lethal come over to AEW for even for signing, because I know that it's getting later in his career. Even if it was like a year or two, kind of doing a hey, I'm doing a last run through here, guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah. His Black Machismo character. He dove into that character hardcore.
I want to see him. Oh my God. Okay, so I don't remember if you remember it from BTE or not, but he would somebody would hit him on the shoulder, and he would slip into the character over and over and over again. I would love for it to be like, no, that's all done. He's perfectly fine. He doesn't have to worry about accidentally slipping into, Black Machismo anymore.
I think he stopped that a while ago.
Yeah, but then Matt Hardy, it actually purposely gets brought up. But then right before a match, broken Matt Hardy taps him on the shoulder, and he's like, Machismo! And taps him on the shoulder, and immediately he goes right back into the character. And then
it would be interesting.
And then, but that's the next day, normal Matt Hardy taps him on the shoulder. He's like, hey, Jay, what's up? And he's back to normal. He's like, please don't ever do that to me again.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. And but my reason for bringing him up was because of you have someone who knows how to do this unique and interesting character from Impact.
Yes.
He's one of the few people who's learned it. He's probably passed it on in his working with younger talent in Ring of Honor. Best Friends have caught on. You can, if you watch older stuff, you can learn how to have a character. But because everyone says just be yourself and it's turned up to a 90 degree, up to an 11, that's when you kind of realize that a lot of people don't really have personalities. Or
very true.
Even when you turn their personality up to 11, it's not that big. You have to crank it up even louder, and you kind of see that. It's mostly for younger talent. And the more younger talent we see who aren't on the NBC don't fully understand it. But if you go over to Japan and work there, you'll learn how to have a character.
Yes.
Or you flop.
Of course you flop.
All right, so let's move on to What's next in the docket? Is it the spoilers?
Yeah, we actually have to move on to a spoilerific moment, which may
So
or
we're
may
gonna say
not have
this
been
again.
spoiled for you guys already.
Spoilers. This is a potential spoiler for next week's Great American Bash double champion. Who the first ever NXT double champion is. So if you do not want a spoiler, tune back into. Adam will put the time code on screen when you can tune back in for the close.
You know what? No, I'm not even going to do that.
You're just too lazy, aren't you?
I am really lazy when it comes to editing.
You fucker.
Hey, it took me 4 days to edit the Alpaca Bowl, okay? That 2 shows, 2 days each. That is how lazy I am.
Because you're not an editor, you fucker. Anyway, so again, one last warning. If you do not want a spoiler, tune off. So, alright. So, Adam, can I get a drum roll, please? Make sure you put like a sound effect of a drum roll. Go find a drum roll. Like, yeah, no problem.
I'm not going to go find a drum roll.
I'll go find the drum roll. Yep. Keith Lee is apparently your first ever dual champion. Because it was posted on Zavar Garaja, I can't pronounce his name, of timeline in Instagram of Keith Lee in the ring, confetti, holding both belts. Because they recorded the match last night.
Yep.
Apparently he took it there. It's on there. It's been deleted since. So it looks it's legit and everything. It looks like someone from ringside on a camera who's shaking, celebrating, or something like that. So Keith Lee is apparently your dual champion. This could be a leak or a mistake, or this could have been planned.
Either somebody's in trouble backstage right now, or or they went, you know what, put that out. You take the picture.
Yep. It could be one of those things where it's like this was a part of the plan to help boost next week's ratings. It could not be. It could have been a mistake, and that's why we don't know. Could this help NXT in the ratings next week? Yeah, I think it could, because Keith Lee's the most over person in WWE right now. And everyone's been wanting to see him win the NXT Championship, and here he is winning it. So it will be interesting to see how this does help the ratings. It also could hurt the ratings if they're getting out. Only time will tell, but it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out next week. Now, I will find it funny if this was a they filmed both endings, and just to fuck with people, and this is posted out, and Adam Cole retains his title.
Oh.
And becomes the dual champion. That would be hilarious.
That is really, really bait and switch right there.
But that would also hurt them the following week on NXT. I guarantee if they did that.
The week after that, you suddenly see the NXT ratings at 400,000. Like, people were just no, screw you.
We fucking hate you for teasing this.
That's why
I'm pretty sure it's not
1 star.
So it's not. It's going to be Keith Lee, and he is obviously a good choice. He's again, he got a huge boost during Survivor Series. Royal Rumble helped him out, making him a big star. So it only makes sense to put the belt on him now. I think they wanted to put it on him with fans in attendance to really get that pop.
Yes,
which I agree. But as we all know, things are down in Florida. Who knows when that's gonna fucking happen?
So I do chuckle about the fact that Florida was like, what was it, May? We were talking about they were like in the next month or two we're gonna start opening up amphitheaters, and we're gonna have them at half capacity. AEW's like, we operate out of an amphitheater, so fuck yeah, let's do this. 2 weeks ago they're like, we're not going through with that. We're on the swing up again. This is horrible. We didn't flatten the curve.
So it will be interesting how this all turns out. But if this is Keith Lee's big win here, great. Which again, when you look at the photo, it's clearly they filmed it. He's holding the belts, so. But they could have again also filmed two, but next week we'll find out. All right, Adam. With that being said, we got nothing else to talk about.
I do have. I have to go over this. It has to happen. I get my segment. Tim, we're gonna go ahead and mute you here, and ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk about New England Wrestling Alliance. It's
What's that? Sorry, Adam.
You were supposed to be muted.
Here.
Editor.
I can't understand you. I think, hey, Adam, I think
Editor.
you're going into a tunnel.
Can you just go ahead and just mute his mic? Thank you. Good job. All right. We're going over New England Wrestling Alliance. It's the end of the year, aka beginning of the new year. That's why it's 2 nights. This is the Alpaca Bowl. Night 1, it's the Alpacalypse. We've got 7 matches, 14 matches over both nights, 7 matches. We are, for night 1 is huge. We've got 2 huge matches for you. We've got a 4-on-4 elimination match, Anime Society. We've got Oma Takeda, Baki Hanma, Kirito, and Ichigo taking on the New York Defenders. It's Iron Fist, Luke Cage, Daredevil, and the Punisher. They're doing a 4-on-4 elimination. It keeps trying to say elimination chamber, elimination match. And in the main event, it is for the New England Wrestling Alliance Tag Team Championship. It is Brooklyn Brodfa challenging Zop Club for the championships. Who will walk out? Will there be a new champion? Will Zop Club retain? You'll have to tune in and see. And then we've got night 2. That's going to be on Sunday. That is the Lamageddon. That card is just stacked. We've got the Chowda Championship Elimination Chamber. 6 men enter. Only 1 can walk out the champion. Going in, Percy Norwood from the Union is hanging on to that title right now. We've got a grudge match between Jacob and Uncle Freddy. And then in the main event, ladies and gentlemen, we have the returning Biff Striker taking on the Llama for not only the New England Wrestling Alliance Championship belt, but also for the Universal title and the Big Ham Championship. Having all 3 gives you complete and utter control over the company as a whole. I don't know who's going to win there. I cannot wait. Tune in Saturday and Sunday, ladies and gentlemen. Huge surprises. These are the greatest shows of the year for this company. And then who knows? We don't know what's going to be going on next week, but this week you get two big shows. Oh, and night 2, there's also a special announcement. Tune in and find out what that is. Tim, welcome back. Well, editor, go ahead and bring his mic back up. Thank you. Tim, you ready to close out the show?
Oh, wait. What's going on?
Great job at faking that you were asleep.
I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, Adam, since you had your news, okay, editor, go ahead and drop Adam's mic for me so I can do my segment.
How dare he go ahead and ruin my mic like this?
There we go. So, here's what we're going to do. Because I am doing my own show, Fantasy Booking, where I fantasy book AEW. And last night, I posted the first post-Double or Nothing pay-per-view card. You can go check that out. Adam will put a link down below to that, if he's not too lazy. But at the end of that, I made a surprise reveal. I've gone through and redesigned all of AEW's championships. Why? Because I can. Mostly because most of them are a disappointment. The AEW champion is pretty cool. The women's champion isn't bad. It's just too tiny. But And as I add in other championships, I want them to look the same, so I decided to redesign them. So we're going to reveal them here as well, since I revealed them last night. We have the new AEW World Championship. Look at that belt. Isn't it great? As much as I like the AEW Championship as it is now, at times with the way the light hits it, it kind of looks like a toy at times. But it's still a beautiful belt, but I had to do my own thing. And then we had the AEW World Tag Team Championships, which were one of the disappointments when I first saw them. They keep growing on me as I see them, but they could have been better. And don't mind look beautiful. And that's going to move on to the AEW World Women's Championship. And I took the old belt, made the belt on the main plate bigger just because I wanted it to be a little bit bigger, because the belt they have now looks like it was designed for Rio on how tiny it is. But it's not bad. It's actually a beautiful belt, but it just needs to be a little bit bigger. But I redesigned it for myself. And then we have the most disappointment championship belt, and that's the TNT Championship, as it looks. Come on, AEW, get the gold on there. It looks terrible still. Finish it, will ya? Anyway, here's my championship, the version of it, and doesn't it look so much better than what we got? Yes, it does. All right, editor, you can bring up Adam's mic again because
thank you.
I'm done.
Thank you, Tim, for allowing the editor to bring my microphone back up.
You thought you had all full control over that, didn't you?
Yeah, I'm actually really surprised by that.
Yeah, I bribed him.
Okay. All right. Well, you ready to wrap up the show?
Yep. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's all we have for you today. Go ahead and comment down below what you thought of the show. Let me know what you thought of my championship belts. And please tell Adam how much you think N.E.W.A Championship Wrestling sucks.
It is the greatest wrestling show on this channel, on Zop Gaming.
No, mine's better. Anyway, let us know down in the comment what you thought. Also, since it's right there, hit that thumbs up. You've been listening for over an hour and 15 minutes.
Boop.
Give us a thumbs up. You know you're liking what you're listening to. And it's right next to it. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button.
Ding.
Ring that bell.
Ding. Ding.
And turn on all notifications so you know when all As the Buckle turns, N.E.W.A Championship Wrestling and Fantasy Booking and other Zop Gaming content go live. Adam, get bent like your stupid federation.
How dare you, sir?